Hey folks, it's Jim, it's Julie, it's Leila, it's episode 211. It's DC 01.
Yay!
Week one of too many. We are going to be reviewing all 55 of the DC Zero Month books this month. So stick with us for that. And at the very end of the episode, we will be randomly picking which books we are reviewing next week. But let's start off with Leila and Green Lantern.
Yes, this is Green Lantern number 0, and in this one we meet Simon Baz, an automotive engineer who lost his job and must support his family and resorts to stealing to get, stealing cars for money. He's trying to support everybody, right? He seems like a basically good guy who's doing some stupid stuff.
Steals cars.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
But he steals the wrong car. He steals a van that he finds out has a bomb in it. And does everything he can to get to a safe place for impact, but still finds himself in hot water with the authorities. Yes, while being interrogated about the source of the bomb, he gets an unexpected jailbreak, courtesy of a Green Lantern ring. That's right, this is the new Green Lantern.
A car thief.
Yes. Yes.
Alright.
Yeah. I have a few things to say about it.
Great choice there, Ring. Great choice.
Yeah. So following the events of last week's Green Lantern Annual, we find out who the new Green Lantern is, and we also get a glimpse of what really happened to Hal and Sinestro.
He died.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed this for the most part, and though it focuses on Baz's heritage a little too much for me, so like the big thing is like that he's an Arab American, which, okay, so he's an Arab American that steals cars? Like, are you trying to make a negative comment about his heritage? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So you're making a big deal about his heritage, but then also having a really negative connotation to his background. So I don't know.
And they put him with a bomb?
Yes. Yes.
Oh.
Ooh. Yes. So all I'm saying is I wasn't sure about how wise a decision that was for me. I don't know. So I didn't really like how that played itself out, but overall I think that this could be an interesting character. And I hope that they just sort of stay away from focusing on the heritage so much and just get into how this is a different Green Lantern than we're used to, and that might be cool.
Alright, next up we have Dial H, number 0. And in this one, Laodice, one of the first users of the H-Dial, learns a horrible secret and must face a descendant from the future, out for revenge, due to a future event Laodice might have caused.
Interesting.
Confusing.
Yeah. Yes.
Alright, so I read up a bit about Dial H and some of the history and whatnot from the last few issues that we've gotten, because this series hasn't been around too long.
No.
But it's an interesting premise. It's just all over the place. There's like so many timelines interspersing with each other in this book that you're like going, what's going on? I don't understand. Who is this? Where'd that guy come from? Who's that?
Yeah.
It's one of those types of books. I mean, it's still enjoyable. The art's really nice here. The story, but like I said, story is all over the place, and that kind of hinders the book for anyone that might just be starting out on it.
I think the artists really need to work hard to ground the book and so that you can tell visually where you're at if you're going to do that. Yeah.
I mean, visually it's a very nice looking book, but story-wise it's just all over the place. But if you've read the rest of Dial H, which I have not had a chance to do, I've only had a chance to look at the history and a bit of the storyline, I'm still confused. So, if you know what's going on, someone tell me.
Alright.
First up for me, I have Phantom Stranger. Phantom Stranger is a new book that they're just starting out on, and, well, it opens up with a scene of somebody talking about his guilt and trying to hang himself.
Awesome!
That's a typical Tuesday for some people.
Starts on a great happy note.
Yeah.
Happy, happy, joy, joy.
Yes, but instead of dying, he goes to see the Wizards Council, which is a group of mages and magic users who basically punish people who have committed the worst atrocities, things that are going to hamper the timeline of how things are supposed to be.
So committing suicide, high up on that list of the worst things you could do.
Apparently.
Except for not. Apparently the worst thing you can do is betray your best friend.
Yeah.
Which I'm down with, except that about 4 pages in you realize that this is Judas that they're talking about.
Yeah.
And that was the point where they lost me, because you can have your religious beliefs, but don't preach to me, please.
Yeah.
However, that said, I really loved the writing. The voice of the Phantom Stranger is fantastic and kept me reading because he was actually a legitimately interesting character. Once I got past the...
Old Judas thing?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I felt a little betrayed by my comic book.
Ah, gotcha. Okay.
Ah.
All right. Now, this is possibly one of my favorite books that I read this week. This is Animal Man #0. For some time, Buddy Baker has been using his powers as a very public celebrity superhero, also animal rights activist, and now we find out how he became an unknowing player in the battle between the Red and the Green against the deadly forces of the Rot. We also learn that his daughter Maxine...
Sounds like a band.
Yes.
The Deadly Forces of Rot.
Yes. It would be a good band.
Yeah.
Yeah. We also learned his daughter Maxine may have a destiny that's completely unknown to him and might
Note
put
to
their
self,
entire
copyright
family...
The Deadly Forces of Rot.
Yes. Put his entire family in danger. So I really loved this. I love it. It was so effective at drawing the reader in and unraveling a mystery. So the writing is awesome. I'm not really a great fan of the art. That's the only thing. But the story was so captivating that I could get past it. And just Animal Man has just been a surprise hit, I think, you know, this whole year. So if you haven't been reading it...
Well, I know I enjoyed the first issue last year.
The first issue was awesome, and they're about to do this big crossover called Rot World, which I'm going to talk about a bit when I reviewed Swamp Thing next. That just looks like it's going to be awesome. So start picking up Animal Man. It's really good.
Alright, next up for me is World's Finest, #0. And in this one, after the death of Helena's mother, Selena, Batman, unable to keep fighting, calls in the support of Superman. But as he's busy fighting Apocalypse, he sends Kara instead. Meanwhile, Helena has rushed off to face the ones that killed her mother.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah. And this is actually my favorite book of the week this week. There's some really nice, really good character-driven story in here. Because, number one, Helena's like, I gotta get revenge for the people that killed my mother. Meanwhile, they almost killed Batman.
Nice.
So, yeah, it comes down to Helena and Kara facing off against all these guys with semi-automatic machine guns and da-da-da-da-da.
And Apocalypse?
No Apocalypse. But it's really more of a story of how they evolved as into who they are.
Okay.
So, I like that part. Because basically, Helena's starting out as Robin, and Kara's starting out as Supergirl.
Yeah.
Before they become Power Girl and Huntress.
Yeah.
So I like that. I like that a lot. It really shows growth in the characters, and you actually do care about why these characters are who they are and why they became who they are. Because, quite frankly, having someone you love die is going to change you.
That's messed up a lot of superheroes.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't it part of the formula for superheroes?
Yeah,
Pretty much,
so.
yeah.
Superhero formula.
If your parents aren't dead, you can't become a superhero. Or if you're not adopted, there's a whole bunch of rules.
There's a list.
Yeah,
there's a formula to it.
Yeah.
It's a flowchart.
Yes.
We'll get to Stan Lee in on that one. So what's the formula, Mr. Lee?
Yeah.
Kill them all.
Well, I
Kill
think
all
his
the
formula
parents.
is that your first name and your last name starts with the same letter.
Yeah.
That's his formula.
Yes.
And that your parents must die.
So.
Or you have to be horribly turned into something by radiation of some sort.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Anyway, this was actually a lot of fun. There's some really nice art here, and the story is pretty darn fantastic. So, yeah, if you're a fan of these characters, pick this one up. It's actually quite good.
My surprise for the week was GI Combat. I was expecting this to be not very interesting at all, but it wasn't bad. They basically, you start out in a museum where they're hypothesizing that every war that Earth has seen has had an unknown soldier.
Okay.
Which I can get behind. And she convinces the main character that he should undergo a therapy to bring up some of his subconscious memories. So you get a brief flashback through the different ages of war and get to see the unknown soldier.
Interesting.
It was kind of neat, gives you some backstory. It left me with a lot of questions because the second half of the book deals with a completely different character and he was fighting dinosaurs.
Ooh, dinosaurs.
Okay.
Can't go wrong with fighting dinosaurs.
I was super confused. I liked the dinosaurs,
Yeah.
but I was very confused by this book.
Yeah.
However, I enjoyed it all the same.
Well, considering the book, it has a lot of history to fall back on.
It does,
so.
but some
And-
sort of coherent forward story would
yeah.
be.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I figured as a 0, it's a good jumping on point,
Mm-hmm.
but I really didn't find...
But apparently you're going to need to know a bit
Yeah,
of the history
you
as
need
well to get into it.
You need to do a bit of research, find out what's going on before picking it up. The art's good, I enjoyed the story and the voices, but was left a little confused.
Fair. Alright, next up, Swamp Thing, number 0. Loved this book as well. Okay, so because of the Rot World thing that's been started already and is going to continue on, this is tied into the Animal Man book, so awesome. This is the story of how Anton Arcane, Avatar of the Rot, killed Alec Holland.
That's also a good band name. Avatar of the Rot.
Yes. You already copyrighted the other one.
I know. I can copyright 2.
So this is how he kills Alec Holland, who is the would-be champion for the Green, aka Swamp Thing. I don't want to say any more than that. Other to say it's an awesome story with awesome art, and I can't wait to read Rot World. This is again one of those surprise series of books, and I think that the fact that they're choosing to tie these particular books together is just awesome, and I can't wait to read it all. And you guys should read it too.
Well, anything by Yannick is generally really good. Next up, we have Stormwatch. And in this one, Adam 1 returns from the dead to tell young Jenny the history of the team known as Stormwatch, and to let her know everything will be coming to an end, and it's up to her to stop it from happening.
Huh.
Alright, so, you're basically told the complete history of Stormwatch,
That's kind of neat.
which is interesting
Little
because it was
catch-up.
also connected to the Demon Knights
Yeah.
and various other things throughout the DC history lexicon.
Yeah.
So I like that. That
Yeah.
was actually really interesting. And it seems that they are building towards something I was not expecting. A showdown with all the DC superheroes.
Oh, neat.
Ooh.
At least that's what I took away from it.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting premise if that's what they're going for, in that the superheroes might be the way the world ends. So Stormwatch has to stop it somehow, and she's the only one who knows this now. So very interesting premise. I like that.
That's
Yeah.
kind of really exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. And considering this is one of those Wildstorm books that they have now put into the DCU,
Yeah.
it's an interesting premise and a very interesting story that could affect the entire DCU. So yeah, if you're a big fan of stuff that might be affecting everything, this might be the book to pick
jump
up.
on to this, and then
Yeah.
later on when they're like, "Oh, that book was the beginning of it all, and now it's $20." Damn it.
Yeah. But yeah, so I actually had a lot of fun with this. The art's really nice. The story is just really, really good and really brings you into it, because you get to learn not only of the history of the DCU, but the history of the Wildstorm universe
That's cool.
as well. So a very interesting book that is well worth a read. Go check this one out.
My third book this week is The New Green Arrow. It starts off with Oliver Queen throwing a party on an oil rig.
Hooray!
Nice.
Nothing can possibly go wrong!
Exactly.
Yeah.
Until the oil rig gets attacked by pirates.
Yay!
Yes. Very exciting.
Pirates love a good party.
Death by pirates is good.
Yes.
It's now Oliver's job to save the hundreds of people in his crew and large group of his, very well-to-do friends from being blown into smithereens by pirates.
Okay.
I'm not really going to say anything more than that, but it was a good book. Again, I liked the story. I am not a fan of this art style, though.
Yeah.
I really found that it took away from the story, and it was a sketch art kind of feel.
Yeah.
And I find that it really just detracts because my eyes have so much more that they have to look at. But overall, good book. I'm very excited to see a little bit more. I might go back and take a flick through some of the older Green Arrow just to find out what happens with it.
Yeah.
So it definitely piqued my interest.
Oh, well, if you're interested in the character, then mission accomplished, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Like, that's the thing. Alright, so Batwing, number 0. Okay, so we learn more about David Zavimbi's past, specifically the period of time leading up to his recruitment by Batman. So this is the period before that. A metahuman crime lord named Death Jack attacks his guardians. They're not... His parents are dead, and he's sort of like in an orphanage kind of thing and become really close with the people who run it. So they're kind of his guardians. Their names are Renee and Matu. And in the attack, Renee is killed and Matu is severely maimed. So David captures Death Jack and turns him into the police, which I thought took a lot of restraint. Right? But then it only sees him returned back to the street, hours later by a corrupt police force, which is pretty disheartening. So
Sounds about right for most of the world, though.
Yeah. So David keeps taking the fight to Death Jack and his business, attracting the attention of a powerful ally, Batman. Yes.
Isn't he supposed to be dead?
So this is, the whole tie into the Batman Inc. thing and how Batman takes his brand around the world and empowers these people.
Yes, Batman is a brand now.
Yes. Brand. That's the best way to say it. So the art and story are pretty well done here. I still just don't care for the landscape. I don't know, the African Batman and just always dealing with like the same kind of characters, like
always being attacked by lions.
Yeah,
and giraffes.
It's the drug cartels and the child soldiers and the people who organize them. And
pretty cliche.
I don't know.
I'm not trying to say anything bad. It just seems pretty damn cliche.
No, and I mean, and again, this is a pretty violent book. Like I said that back when I read number 1, I was like, wow, this is pretty violent. It was one of the books that we sort of talked about. That is the new DCU, just like totally full of violence and sex. And that's the new thing.
Has anyone noticed that there was very little sex this time around? Reading the number zeros.
We still have 3 weeks to go.
Yeah, I know. So far.
And it wasn't any for me.
Did anyone see any hooded people yet?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
Nor here.
Yeah. So again, I'm just really not a fan of this series, and I overall don't see how it really contributes to what they're going for in this universe, and there's lots of other characters that I would like to see more. Oracle and or Donna Troy.
She wants to
or
see
Wally
Oracle.
West or some of those guys. But I guess if you're a Batman completist and you're interested in this whole incorporated idea, then you're reading this book. But for me, it's just, I don't know, it's just one of those books that I can live without.
Alright, last up for me is Earth 2. And in this one, Terry Sloan, Earth 2's greatest villain, tells the tale of how he betrayed his friends, Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman, and destroyed the world in order to save it.
Wait a second. So you also have a book dealing with best friend betrayal?
Yep.
Yeah.
And he blows up half the world. Just to be
and he doesn't get to go to the Wizards Council.
No. He escapes through a portal through to another dimension. So
this sounds
it's
like Before the Watchmen.
Yeah, kind of. Oh boy. Interesting storyline here. He basically turns Superman into a raving lunatic who starts attacking. He almost kills Batman, and then he decides to blow up the frickin' world just to stop it from being under Apocalypse's control.
Interesting.
So, yeah, really, really dark storyline here. And you get to learn who this guy is and why he betrayed them and what his what his thoughts are on why he betrayed them and everything. So, interesting premise, but really, when you're going to blow up half the Earth, do you really need to go, yeah, I'm going to blow up half the Earth just to be able to save it? There's no way to otherwise save it.
Yeah.
It's like, you're evil.
Yes.
It's like, there's always another way.
Yeah, there's...
So, but yeah, so he basically betrays his Justice League, or Justice Friends, or whatever you want to call it, and tries to pretty much get them out of the way so he can destroy the world. And yeah, it's interesting. I won't say anything terrible about it because it's really compelling as you read and figure out just why, in his mindset, it's the right thing to do to kill all these people who are under Apocalypse's control. So it's like, yeah, we'll just kill like half the population of Earth. Yeah, why not? Seems like the thing to do. It's like, okay, you're crazy. But interesting story, pretty good art. I was compelled to keep reading as it went on, so that's something.
Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished.
That's all it really
And
matters.
it gives you a good look into the mindset of a supervillain
Yes.
on the rise.
That's kind of exciting, though.
Yes.
My final one this week is Superman Action Comics. Action Comics was pretty neat. I really wasn't familiar at all with Action Comics or the general premise. So it was kind of neat seeing Clark get himself set up in Metropolis and how he meets Lois Lane, and in this universe he's friends with Jimmy Olsen before he ever works at the Daily Planet, so that was kind of neat.
Yeah.
The big catch was when he saved an eyewitness from being blown up by taking a rocket-propelled grenade to the chest in front of Lois Lane
Yeah.
and falling to the ground and having a little kid steal his cape.
Yeah.
So what is Superman going to do without his cape?
Beat up the kid.
And yeah.
Maybe? Secret identity? What? Who has a secret identity?
Yeah.
But no, it was good. I
am Clark now.
kind of enjoy this jeans and t-shirt Superman, the little more laid back farm country Superman. It was kind of neat.
Cool. Okay, and last for this week, we've got Detective Comics #0. This is the story of Bruce's training with Shihan Matsuda, a Zen Buddhist monk warrior, and how he fell in love with a girl named Miao.
And now we all have to ask, who?
Yes, this is a new backstory for Batman. This is a new character. So, you know, this is good in that we're changing it up and giving Bruce, you know, a past that's maybe different than we're all familiar with. And then we find out how Bruce truly learned the price of what it means to be close to someone. And many years later, he returns to Gotham to a relieved Alfred, to whom he describes an idea that could change everything. So this is...
I'm gonna dress up like a bat and fight crime.
This is pre-Batman, and this also like establishes that that Batman sort of is in the town working a couple years before. Like this is sort of like 7 years before, whereas the previous DC universe has been like 5 years before. So we are getting a hint here that Batman was working in the city before sort of like the boom of metahumans. So that's kind of interesting. And I really did enjoy the backstory. It was really well done. The art was great. The story was great. So I was really happy with this #0, and it added something to Batman lore, which I liked.
Alright, and before we head off for another week, we are going to randomly choose which books we will be reviewing next week. Now,
other than the ones we already fought over.
We already fought over 3 books that we will be reviewing. I will be reviewing Batgirl.
Batman!
Leila will be doing Batman, and Julie will be doing Suicide Squad. So, there are 11 books left in this random Pokemon case that we stole from a child. And 1 form for you have to read 5 books.
Yes, because I read 5 this week, so...
Yep. So, one of us will be getting that. But I will let Julie randomly pick a book first.
That's fair. She wasn't here last week. And
Yep.
I have Frankenstein, Agent of Shade.
All right.
Ooh, that could be good. Superboy.
All right. I have Resurrection Man.
Ooh, that is good.
Book 2 is Grifter.
Ooh. Thank God I avoided that bullet.
Legion Lost.
All right. I have.
Wait a minute, this was Julie's pick.
No, that was mine.
Oh, is it yours?
I have Batman and Robin.
Oh.
All right.
For that
I almost don't want to reach in anymore. The Ravagers.
All right. Oh, she got the 5, so we have to put that randomly back in again.
Because I don't get to read 5 again this week.
All right.
Demon Knights.
All right. One.
I keep getting the dark books.
I get Green Lantern Corps.
Team 7.
Ooh. I'm going to pick 5 again.
Probably.
Yeah, you are, right?
Probably.
Deathstroke.
And I have to read 5.
Ah, there you go.
All right.
You get 5. What is it?
What's the last one?
Because we're missing one.
We're missing one. What the hell?
Oh no.
Anyway.
Fail.
We will decide what to do next week. We will see you soon. Have a good one.